that line. It's back, baby. Let's go. My picks for the week's the locks of the week. We're going to see what our record is. Keeping track this year. I added the over-under win totals to it. There were 10 of them. Today I got 15 plays for you, a couple of last-minute plays, but as well as plays for Saturday, just the whole week. We got 15 of the best locks. But before we get started, I ask you to like this video and make sure that you check out my other stuff down below. Here shortly on Thursday, before these games, going to be hosting a Twitter Spaces with a couple of buddies. Feel free to hop in there, request to speak. We could talk to you about some college football here today. We're also going to be doing the same thing on Saturday. If you're seeing this later, Saturday morning, just go down to that X link and click follow on Bachelor CFB Show. All right, here we go. I got to edit this real quick. Shrink my camera up. All right. Tonight, Jacksonville State -2.5 against Coastal Carolina. It's pretty simple. I broke this down. The video is on the channel if you want to check out the full breakdown of this game. Jacksonville State is going to be able to outweigh them when it comes to the run game. They're going to be able to run all over Coastal Carolina. Personally, I feel like Coastal Carolina, just like last year, is going to struggle yet again against the run, and I got no faith in Tim Beck to be able to have a good offense at Coastal Carolina. I'm taking Jack State -2.5. Sacramento State +3.5. I think they win outright against San Jose State. I think San Jose State's going to be a solid team this year, but this is the first game with Ken Niumatalolo, and they're learning a new system as players with not a whole lot of camaraderie coming back on roster, but they're also learning a new system. But it's also a new system that Ken Niumatalolo has not had as a head coach, as they're running basically a run and shoot or West Coast style offense, I guess. I'm not fully sure what it's going to look like, but it's not going to be the triple option, which is what Ken Niumatalolo teams have been able to win on. So I have no faith that San Jose State is going to be able to contain Sacramento State enough on the offense side of the ball to be able to buy their offense time in this game to figure out the kinks. FAU, Michigan State, I'm taking the over 47.5, and this has gone down. So I got it at a higher number. Take it, okay? I think Michigan State's going to score a whole lot of points. Aiden Childs, going to be a whole lot of fun. But also, FAU, if they're going to upset Michigan State or keep it close, they're going to have to score above 20 points for sure, right? Even if they're going to be able to keep it close. I expect for this game to be somewhere along the lines of like 42-21. It's going to be a higher scoring game than what Vegas thinks. Virginia Tech -13.5 at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's replacing a lot. They do not have skill position players that have any sort of evidence that they could perform at this level. They're going to start Diego Pavia, who has not proven he could start at this level either. And they're going up against one of the most experienced teams in all of college football in Virginia Tech. If Kyron Drones and this offense is clicking, this is going to be an absolute blowout. Even if they're not, though, that defense is going to make sure that Vanderbilt is not going to put up too many points. I like Virginia Tech to cover 13.5. West Virginia, this home environment is going to be absolutely insane. They're an underrated team. Their offensive line is better than Penn State's. Penn State doesn't have a wide receiver core. You can't trust Drew Aller on the road. This is a brand new coordinator for Penn State. And though I think Andy Kotelnicki's really good, you cannot assume that that's going to be an instantaneous impact the way that some guys like Tyler Santucci over at Georgia Tech was. I'm taking West Virginia to cover 8.5. Tennessee -38.5 versus Chattanooga. Hypo absolutely blows out these types of teams here that you see. And I think that the other thing, too, is Tennessee's going to have the speed on the outside and a dominant offensive line with a run game that's going to impose their will. Basically, I'm putting it this way. With a Tennessee defense that has something to prove, I don't expect for them to allow any more than 14. And I think that Josh Heupel's offense is going to put up 50 in this game. Tennessee wins big. North Texas +5.5 against South Alabama. There's a lack of returning production for South Alabama with the new coach in there as Kane Womack leaves. And then North Texas has an explosive offense commanded by Eric Morris, who brings in his kid, Chandler Morris, to call the shots. I think this game's going to go down to the wire, and I think North Texas probably wins it, to be honest with you. But I'm taking them just to cover the spread on the road. UNLV and Houston going over 54.5. Barry Odom might not be an offensive mind, but I think that they're going to have a lot of explosive offense between the running backs that they have. Matthew Sluka coming in, a dynamic running quarterback, scrambling quarterback, but as well as Ricky White on the outside with DeJesus on the outside as well. UNLV is going to be a dangerous team this upcoming year in the Mountain West. I think they're going to show it by putting up a lot of points against Houston. This Willie Fritz offense is also going to be very difficult to stop. I expect for Donovan Smith to have a pretty big day, and overall, I think that this is going to be a shootout. Alabama, minus 31.5 versus Western Kentucky. This is going to be a showcase for Kalen DeBoer's offense, and again, I previously mentioned Kane Womack. He's in as the defensive coordinator at Alabama. They're going to put their guys in the right spots to be able to absolutely dominate in this ball game on defense, especially with TJ Finley starting, who I think is limited. And I'm hoping Alabama ends up beating him because, frankly, no offense to TJ Finley, I was rooting for the start of Caden Veltkamp in this game. But I guess we'll see if he's going to end up playing later on this year. Michigan, minus 21.5 against Fresno State. First off, Jeff Tedford stepped down. So I don't know what Vegas is seeing here to keep this number so low. I mean, Tim Skipper, he's an interim coach. He's a solid coach, but he's not going to be able to have a game plan for this Michigan defense, and he's not going to be able to put up points. And I got to imagine this Michigan offense is going to be able to put up enough points where all it's going to take to cover is going to be like a 31-7 game. I think Michigan could easily do that. I'm taking Michigan to cover against Fresno State. All right, LSU and USC, the over. Neither of these teams have defense. LSU specifically doesn't have a secondary. Garrett Nussmeier is also a big shot taker, a gunslinger. Explosions on Sunday. Explosions. Watch out for it. This is going to be a real fun game. I expect for a lot of points, somewhere along the lines of like 48-38. I mean, this is going to be an insane game, and I'm excited to watch it on Sunday. 64.5 is a high total. No matter what, I was taking the over. And then after I went through the slate of games and had those initial locks, these are the ones that I found after a little bit more digging into. Nevada, I think a lot of this is influenced by being impressed by them last week, but also the improvement from week 1 to 2 for teams is immense. Having that first game under their belt where they did get tested but not super banged up, I think Nevada has an advantage here against first-year coach Jared Parker, who was left with an empty cupboard. I think that Nevada could potentially win on the road. It's a cross-country travel, though, after already playing a game. Even if Troy wins, though, I think it's within a touchdown. Charlotte, plus 8.5. I think, again, they have a decent chance to win this game against James Madison. Cupboard left bare. You have Buff Poggi bringing his team in with dynamic wide receivers, a dynamic tight end in Colin Weber. I think that Charlotte is going to be a little bit of a dangerous offense in the American this year. I think they keep it close against JMU. I think JMU does win because I think JMU does have more talent. But again, by a touchdown or less. Michigan State, I'm taking the cover, minus 14. I think FAU will have some offensive moments, but overall, I think Michigan State's going to be able to score when they need to and win this game by over 20 points, 20 to 30 points probably in that range. Michigan State wins somewhere like 41-20 or something like that. That would not surprise me one bit. I think that overall, I'm excited to see this Jonathan Smith team and that offense and what they look like. Pittsburgh, they had moments last year on offense, despite the fact they went 3-9, and they haven't named a quarterback. Kent State is awful, and I think part of the reason they haven't named a quarterback is because they do play Kent State. They're going to have dynamic weapons, a couple of running backs that are really good, a couple of wide receivers who comes back that is really good. I'm expecting for Pittsburgh to be able to win by 30+. I think Pitt wins this ball game right around the range of like 45-7 here at home for their opener against Kent State. So those are the locks of the weeks. That is Walk That Line, the segment I do every single week with these lines. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video.